Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode here at WILDMAN Lives. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now, on today's episode, I'm going to be doing a live sorta session. So, I've done this in the past. It's gotten some good reviews, so I'm doing it again. I don't know if it's because people actually enjoy following my workout along when it's like sorta live, because I got to do some movie magic, because otherwise it'll just take too long. I don't want you sitting here for an hour watching me work out. So, I will try to pace it down the best that I can. But I think also it's just kind of nice to leave some workout music in the background of me huffing and puffing, sweating, trying to lift heavy weights. I don't know, but we're going to do that today. So it's going to be a sort of live session. I'm going to use a little bit of movie magic, like I said, but I'm basically just going to move through this workout and kind of go through it in as much real time as I possibly can. And I'm also going to be talking throughout the video. So if this is your thing, hopefully this is what's going to get you to like and subscribe. So please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Now let's pop into today's workout. Let's get started. So obviously I'm doing the log clean and press empty. This is a 75 pound log made of metal. I've got some tape around there to kind of help with the grip as I go up. And I'm not going to be using a belt or anything else. I'm going to kind of just do this all natural and kind of see how I feel. So as I'm going up in weight, I'm also going to be doing what's called a half Turk get up. So a half Turk get up pretty much looks like this. You might have heard of a Turkish get up. So a half Turk is just halfway up. And going up and down in this motion like this, actually it's going to really tear apart my obliques. But it's also working on my shoulder mobility because I have to keep this kettlebell overhead. So as I'm doing this, this is kind of warming up my shoulder joints. So as I'm going up in weight on the log, then I'm able to kind of get my shoulders lubricated and warmed up. So that way when I get to my heavier sets, my shoulders should be warmed up. Should be in theory. Now I'm also going to run 100 meters. So basically that's 3 laps across my bullpen and back. So I'll start here, run down this way, come back, touch this with my foot, this wood beamy thingy. It's about 30 meters there and back. So 3 rounds, probably like as close to 100 meters as I could possibly get. And now I'm just going to go up in weight. So today I'm not looking to do too many rounds on the log. Since I've done some heavy deadlifts just a couple days ago with my buddy Frank, if you haven't seen that video, go check that video out. So I'm mainly just trying to go up in reps as fast as I can to the number that I want to do and not waste around too much on the giant set format and just do less rounds than I normally do. By the way, these collars here, they don't, like weightlifting collars, they don't fit on the ends of the bars on the log. So I've kind of had to makeshift, which I saw on a Strongman channel that I follow. They basically just take something soft like a wrist wrap, which is what this is, a very old wrist wrap that's been worn and stretched out. And then I take a clamp that I bought at Home Depot to clamp it on there so the weights don't slide off, but also the cloth here won't scratch the bar as it's spinning as going up in weight. So kind of like my little DIY project out here in the same process. So the idea, I did more reps when I was using the empty log trying to get warmed up, but now I'm going to do 1 clean and 1 press, and then I'm going to lower it down and try to press it again. I'm going to see how high I can go today. I got a specific number in mind, but remember, I did some heavy deadlifts not too long ago, This is kind of the same hinging motion on the clean. So my shoulders might be ready to take the brunt of it, but definitely not the rest of my central nervous system. A lot of people ask, why do I train like this? So this is like a circuit training, or as I like to call it, a giant strength training, because a superset is when you take either the same muscle group but two different exercises, or opposing muscle groups, and you just alternate between the two movements. So a giant strength training is above a superset. It's three or more exercises put together. So 3 to 100 episodes. It's called giant set training. Kind of a cool word, right? It sounds very intimidating, better than like circuit training. But the idea is, as I'm going up in weight on the log, I've programmed these movements, which is going to be the running and the after get up, is to get everything ready for the bigger weights to come. So I'm nice and primed and the muscles are firing. So it's not meant to tire me out. It's meant to get some blood pumping, to turn everything on, activate everything. So that way, when I do get to my heavy weight, I'm ready to go. Now, you'll see a lot of people, whether it's powerlifting, strongman, or whatever, sometimes they only focus on just the lift as they're going up in weight, which is just fine. And they might take longer rest periods and all of that. The reason why I like to train like this is, number one, like I said, I feel that it helps get to the bigger weight feeling ready to go and all the muscles firing, and I'm not feeling very sluggish. But another reason why I believe in doing it is because I'm also getting a pretty good sweat and a pretty good workout, and I'm doing things that are good for the human body. Doing half jerk get ups, even without the log, and just jogging back and forth within a 20-minute to 30-minute interval is way better than not doing it at all. And since it's not very taxing on the body and it's actually helping getting everything warmed up, that's why I believe it carries a lot into strength training. So this is the set just before my top set. And the idea is, I need to be happy with myself when I hit this set. So if I don't complete my top set for whatever reason, because it's too heavy, or I'm just not feeling it, or I'm feeling a little tightness in my hamstrings or whatever from the deadlifts, that I'll be happy with the set before I hit my top set. So the most underutilized weight in the gym, the 2.5-pound plate. People hate putting it on because they like feel weak or they feel stupid. Like, why don't you just go up another 5 pounds on each side? Like, don't even skip this. But this could be the difference between hitting a PR and not. So I want to be happy with this lift. It's 195 pounds on the bar without those two meaningless plates. Now that makes it an even 200 pounds. So when I hit this for two, even if I don't get to my top set, at least I know that I've hit a number that I'm happy with for the day, and I can make it up in the other variation and assistance work that I do later if I need to. All right, just had to take a little short walk across the bullpen because that log sits right on your neck, looking straight up, which restricts your breathing. So you have to practice a lot to make sure that you're not going to pass out in the process. And this might be a lightweight on the log for some of you viewers, and you think I'm weak or not doing something right, and you're probably right. But for me, this is all fun. I really enjoy being out here, and I really enjoy working out and trying to make myself better every single day. I'm 40 years old, which isn't an excuse. Got a busy life, got family and kids, and I have a full-time career that I have to, keep priority in my life. And weightlifting is kind of like the piece that I try to implement right in the middle of all that. And I find when I do come out here and I do get my workouts done, that I feel so much better about myself. The blood is pumping, the endorphins are coursing through my veins, and I just feel better. It beats sitting on a couch, feeling depressed and anxious all day and getting fat. Working out makes all those other priorities I just mentioned, family and work, so much better and a lot more tolerable. Even though I love both my job and my family, it definitely has its moments, and working out keeps it a little bit more tolerable and keeps me a little bit more sane than it would if I wasn't working out. All right, so now I'm coming up to my top set. So I need to remember as I'm going up, like this is the part that I need to get angry. I need to utilize concentration the best I can and make sure that I'm hitting everything with proper and good form. In the case that I don't lift this for whatever reason, I mean, the idea is to hit it for a clean press, bring it down, and then hit it again. But this will be the most amount of weight I believe I've ever done for 2 reps while being maintained in the air and not re-cleaning it over again. So this is going to take some concentration, some effort, and I really have to just remember my cues. So the cues I need to remember is big clean, like big air, big clean. Once it gets to my shoulders, try to maintain my brace by not letting go of my air and immediately trying to press it up with as much anger and force as I possibly can. Then once it's there and the log is above my head, then I want to re-brace, get my breath again, lower it down controlled, and then press up with some force again. And that's what I'm going to try to do. And the whole time, trying to make sure I'm bringing my elbows as close together as I possibly can. So it gives that log a lot of real estate on my chest to not roll off in midair. So we're going to give that a shot. But first I do that, I'm going to take a few breaths and a few moments to collect myself, since this is a PR and I don't want to miss it for any reason. Almost had it. Probably wasted a little bit too much effort at the top of the lift. So the bad news is I didn't hit that for a second rep, which is fine. Sometimes that happens when you're trying to lift a PR. You're not going to hit it every single time. Sometimes you're going to fail, and you have to learn from those failures. But I also realized that I added that wrong. I think I said that weight was 220, which is what I thought it was, and that would be a PR for me, hitting 220 for 2 reps. However, I just checked my math again, and this is actually 225 pounds. Is that 5 pounds a big difference? Oh, yeah, it's a huge difference. You'll see when it comes to the clean and jerk for Olympic weightlifters, they will be able to hit, like, for example, 300 pounds on a clean and jerk. And they might be able to hit that with ease. But then they add just 5 pounds, 2.5 pounds on each side, and they end up missing it, either the clean or during the jerk. Same thing goes with the Olympic snatch. You add 5 pounds to it, they might miss the snatch completely. So 5 pounds absolutely makes a difference when you're doing something like a clean and press, which is the same for strongman. With the axle bar, you add 5 pounds to it. You might be able to clean and jerk, let's just say 225 pounds. You add 5 pounds to it, make it 230. Suddenly, you can't hit the clean. Or if you do hit the clean, then you struggle with the push press. And with the log, it's even more noticeable because since it's so big in size and the ends don't rotate and you're neutral gripping it, it wants to roll off your chest. With a barbell, you can get perfectly head straight, bar directly on the clavicles here in the front rack position. And then you can get your brace. And then as you dip and go up, you can move your head out of the way. But once it gets to here, you can bring your head forward. And then you could complete the lift by bringing your foot forward in a jerk fashion. And you're able to press that up. With the log, you could try to do that with a jerk format. And there's a lot of strongmen who are capable of that. However, I don't see that applicable to me. I would prefer just to get better at this with the push press because I feel like that's carries more into overall strength than a technical movement such as the jerk. But I'm not knocking the jerk. The jerk does have its place. Just like in real life. A jerk has its place in real life. Otherwise, I wouldn't have job security. Alrighty, so I feel like younger and dumber WILDMAN, right, would have tried to do that second attempt again over and over again and would keep failing and would actually go backwards in progress. And when I was younger, I could get away with that. A smarter WILDMAN would have probably done a 3 rep total where I'd clean it again and just do one and practice with 225 now that I've done my math correctly. But what I kind of noticed on that, and because I'm a lot smarter and older than I used to be, my lockout was struggling. So when I got it down to my chest and I got it just above my head, my triceps were the ones that were supposed to finish that movement. And I was supposed to flare my elbows out a little bit so that way I'm able to get a little bit more umph and recruit a little bit more muscle into pressing that up. And that kind of tells me that needs a little bit of work and a little bit more volume. So the best exercise I can think of is the military press. Now, a seated shoulder press would mean I'd bring it all the way down to like my clavicle area and then press back up. I don't like to do that on a seated press. That's just me personally. Because when I'm doing an overhead press, you kind of have to get your head out of the way and practice that lockout movement with the barbell kind of like directly over your head, and your chin's going to get in the way. So if you're practicing doing this and bringing it all the way down to your clavicle area, I don't think that carries over as greatly as it would into the standing clean and press. So one of my favorite movements that I actually like to do is the seated dumbbell press. And I really feel like that's where my shoulders get very, very strong. And I try to do that like I did the last time on my shoulder session. I did that movement. Now I'm going to switch it and alternate between that and the military press because the military press is going to stop at my chin so I could focus on just the lockout portion and get a lot of volume on the lockout portion, which is the portion I believe that I need, like I just said. So let's pop and let's get this started. I have to remember to take off my hat. Normally I face it forward, but it's got a microphone attached to it, so we're not doing that today. 6 rep max, just as I always do in all my variations. And I'm continuing to try to get this in frame as I can, the half turn get up, just to keep things fluid. Try to keep an even number on doing this. And there is a variation of this, which I'm actually going to show you after this when I do the assistance portion. But I got to get moving here because I got family activities to do and I can't be late. Oh. Oh. All right. I guess you're going to have to believe me that I just did my 100-meter shuttle run because I really want to turn the camera around. I've seen a lot of people that are really good at the seated shoulder press. Like they can lift like maybe 275 pounds, which is very impressive. And then they try to lift a log and they can't even get into the 200-pound mark. They're below 200 pounds. And they wonder why. That's because the log is a full body movement, which is why I didn't want to go heavy on the cleans because I did all those deadlifts the other day and I was exhausted. And I can feel it right now. Not like painful, just I can feel that the muscles are zapped. So I know that I need to watch that. So that's why I had an idea to try to do the 225 pounds for 2 reps and try to make the shoulders do the work today. But it's still a total body movement. And since I'm a little fatigued, that could be why I missed it. If I had done my math correctly and it was 220, maybe I would have hit it. Because like I said, 5 pounds, huge difference. Before I forget, I got to raise this up significantly or I'm going to die. At least maybe one more. So the idea is for my top set on the 3rd round of the variation giant set is to try to do the number that I missed on the log. So that would be 225 pounds. So 2 plates on each side should do it. And the idea again is just to hit some volume. The shoulders are already tired from all this work that I'm doing. So just got to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly and hopefully have enough of the tank. Hit some big numbers. All right, so here comes the top set now. Just because I really want to make sure that I am hitting the lockout portion. Not too worried about the other parts. Like with a dumbbell clean and press, seated press, I should say, you have to get the dumbbells up to your chest and not necessarily, and that could sometimes be a lot harder to do than actually pressing them. So when you're fatigued, when you're tired and you're done doing the strength portion that you really wanted to hit that day, and you just want to finish off the shoulders or whatever, it's not a party foul to ask a friend to help get the dumbbells when you're seated into your hands from this position when you're already set, or starting at the top so you can get your brace, lower it down if you just want to finish the shoulders. I typically, because I'm not very good at getting the dumbbell to my shoulder, as you've seen in my videos, so I prefer to practice that and then just do more reps if I need to on the dumbbell press until my clean to the shoulders from the seated position improve along with the press. That's just me. If you want to know what kind of wrist guards these are, it's called Fit Guys. I actually bought them on Amazon. They're pretty cheap. I mainly bought them so when I do the circus dumbbell, when I do the log when it's heavy, sometimes you have to dig into the implement or the circus dumbbell is going to be hitting right on your forearm and it could hurt tremendously. It can make you miss the lift. So this is just more of a safety precaution, but because it does provide the same support as like a wrist wrap does, so it kind of keeps everything in line and safe. Well, hopefully I can get 6 reps. That's what I'm aiming for. And hopefully nothing weird happens. Hopefully I'm not foreshadowing anything either. was a lot heavier than anticipated. The camera couldn't pick up what was going on above my head, but there's a bird's nest right in the crook above where the camera is right now. Some house finches that have been building their nests in my backyard every spring as far as I could have lived here, which is pretty cool. I don't know if it's the same ones or if it's like their offspring. I remember this is a safe place to be, but when they build their nest, I usually leave like sunflower seeds by the nest so they could feed their babies and such like that. So now for like generations, they keep coming back, which is awesome. But as I was doing that right now, they were flooding around my camera. I thought they were going to knock it over. Unfortunately, they didn't. Alrighty, so 225 went. It was a lot harder than I anticipated. Could be a variety of things. Combination of the log, the heat, all the warming up I'm doing. But it could also mean that I'm just a little fatigued still from those deadlifts. So 225 ended up being the perfect weight. It was a tough 6 rep max. So I was very pleased with that. Probably could have done 7, maybe 8 if I was like motivated enough, but I wasn't. The idea was just trying to hit the 225 that I missed on the log, on the lockout portion, and really focus on that part and hammer it out with the military press and running those 100 meters. And I have to do even more running now because I got to get to my even number of a mile by the time I'm done. Alrighty, so now it's time for a series of unfortunate events. Unfortunate because this is going to go very fast paced, which is going to mean my heart's going to be pounding through my chest, my muscles are going to be fatigued, and I'm going to be gasping for air. So enjoy the show. So we're going to start off with since the log is already out here, I'm going to use its girth that I've already used already with all the shoulder pressing to finish off my triceps by doing an overhead extension. I'm also going to take this and do 6-way windmills, which I'll show you what that looks like. And now, because I want to get to a mile, the assistance giant set, I'm going to just do 2 rounds of these 2 movements, but I'm also going to run 300 meters out into my neighborhood that I've measured, and I'm going to run back. So 150 meters there, 150 meters back, and I'm going to do that 2 times for 600 meters, coupling it with the other rounds that I've already done. That's going to make it 1 mile of total running. So here we go. Yeah, I'm going to take off my hat. Kind of the same motion as a half turn get up. Just now, I'm kind of really hitting the hips a lot more, but it still tears apart your obliques, works your shoulder mobility, but now it's also targeting my hip mobility. And then, like I said, I'm going to run out to this neighborhood now and run 300 meters. That was exhausting. So now we're going to do one more round of this, but I'm going to speed it up. Not gonna lie, because it was only 2 rounds instead of 3, because that would make it even, I pushed that a little too hard. Alrighty, so I just finished the assistance giant set. Now I'm going to end with the accessory giant set, which this is going to be a standard 3 rounds. And I'm basically going to be doing some push-ups, but bringing my hands closer together on the log. So the log's a little bit wobbly, so I have to stabilize a lot more. Bringing my hands closer together is going to really hit the triceps. Like, I would say 80% more triceps than chest, but the 20% of the chest is going to hit right here, which is close quarters on the chest, which is something that you need to include in your workout. Followed by some side delt raises and some face pulls to make sure my shoulders are healthy when this is done. So let's get started on that. See how much it wobbles.